left off at the last tech time. We were doing our X braces. A couple of things have changed since then. I took a bath and got a new haircut. So if I look differently on film, it's because I got a haircut and took a bath and changed my clothes and underwear. All right, so now we're ready to do this next installment, putting the X braces on the door frame. Now, to recap, while we're doing the X braces, we'll come over here to this door, and if you remember, I talked about how the door skin was an integral part of the door for structure, and without the door skin, the inner door frame is not very strong. That goes back to that three-sided open-ended box we talked about. So, as you can see, that's how much this thing flops around without the door skin on it. The only thing we've done to it is just take the door skin off, chop the top, that's it. It's flexible this way, and then if I grab it up and down, I can move it a whole bunch that way. So what we're going to do is, by installing the X brace, we're going to close the box, and it's going to be unbelievable how strong the structure is going to get even when we just have it tacked in. So what I've done is I've got all my hinges straightened up. The door jambs are straight. You want to be sure that your hinges are straight and everything's fixed on your hinges first, and that your doors open and close good. We've got a 3/16 plate, spacer plate right here that bolts in where a factory striker is, and what that does is ensures our proper gap between our A-pillar and our door jamb. And then plus this plate here, later we're going to put some tubing structure in the body that will hold the body in place when we cut the roof off of it. So now we've got our door, it opens and closes good, the hinges are good. You know, you'd want your body bolted to a frame, or we've got this fixture. This is this metal buck right here, this steel buck that this X brace is laying on. This is one of my bucks I use for my door skins when I hammer and make door skins. So it has the profile, and as you can see, since it's flat, we're going to want to curve it just a little bit so it'll lay real nice on this buck. And then once we do that, we'll trim it to fit inside the door frame. It's real simple the way I curve these things. I generally take it over to, say, like a wheel, tire and wheel on a car, and we'll just form it around this right here a little bit, just put a little bit in it. Doesn't take much. As you can see, I've probably already gone too much. But we're just putting a little curve in it. Nothing too high tech here. All right, a little bit here, a little bit there. All right, see how close it is. I'm a pretty good guesser. Put a little bit more here in the middle, a little bit here, and then this needs to roll. Okay, so we got our X brace shaped to this buck. Now, you could also shape it to your door skin. You know, if you don't already have your door blown apart like we do here. I just happen to have this buck, so it makes it easy for me. But if you didn't, you could fit an X brace or whatever you're going to make to your outer door skin. You can even make this out of rectangular tubing or square tubing or whatever. It doesn't have to be a sheet metal thing like this. It's basically, if you can make it out of a piece of rectangular tubing or square tubing, anything. It doesn't take much to strengthen this up. So now we're going to fit for length. Like I said earlier, we're going to catch the main point down here at the bottom hinge. Down here at this bottom hinge, and this is parallel we're looking at where this lines up in relation with the body line. It's running uphill, and the reason being is the door jamb here has this kick out for the hinge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim, say, a 1/2 inch off this bottom leg first, and then see where it lands, and then we'll start trimming to that. Okay? Awesome. All right, there's our first trim. Let's see how this thing's looking. Shorten the top one just a little bit. 1/4 inch, something like that. Ooh, that looks good. See, we got plenty of room here for our glass to go down to here. All right, I love it. I love it. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that fit. Look at that fit. Tack weld that thing right there, and it is going to be freaking amazing. And then just with the tacks in it, you'll be able to see how much stronger this door is going to be. We got our door brace just tacked in, just a couple spots. It's not even fully welded, but you can see the difference in the door just with this X brace. It went from being this rag, because it's a 3-sided box, 1, 2, 3, to becoming a closed box, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see that we still have a consistent gap on the back there, one in the front. Everything fits good. The weakest link now on the door is the bottom hinge. If you'll notice here on the upper hinge, see how it has this web on top right here? It's kind of a web, makes it a gusset. That really strengthens that hinge from being just a flat piece of plate. Okay, so down here basically all we have is 2 pieces of plate, and they'll flex. See, I can flex the hinge, see it? It's pretty good mount, and it's such a heavy door. So what I've got made, that I've done in the past, is I've got these gussets, and what they do is they go on the hinge right here, okay? And this will get a final fit, and then it gets welded in to the hinge, all right? And there's one on the top, and there's one on the bottom. And as you can see, instead of this just being a piece of flat plate that has no structural strength at all in that position, there's a lot of strength in it lengthwise, but not the flat wise. So we'll put these in here, and then we're going to have to machine a little bit off the hinge right here for it to clear a little window. Just drop this down, which that's not doing anything anyway. This is just a piece of metal because it's been machined down to here to go around the hinge. So you can see it's been machined down to go around the hinge. So this piece of metal right here, from here up, isn't doing anything. So we'll machine some of this back, so when the door closes, this will overlap over it and allow the door to close completely.
And then we put another little piece of plate right here. It's welded on real nice. So when the door closes, all that's hidden. You can't see it. And then the bottom hinge is absolutely bulletproof. Then with the X brace, the hinge brace, absolutely bulletproof.
We've got our inner door frame finished and all of our hinge modifications done. As you can see, the hinge has the gusset made to it. Mimics the top hinge up here. Kind of see how it mimics it a little bit. Mimics this. Got a plate here. It's a doubler to keep this hinge here, this part of the hinge from flexing. This doesn't flex. It's all bolted together. One change that we made on the 32-3 window, the hinge has 4 bolts, except it's only 2 through bolts and 2 wood screws. The 34-3 windows, or all the 34 cars, they had 2 back bolts and 1 bolt here. So what we did was I welded up the holes on the hinge, drilled this hole before we put the plate on, and then drilled through the door jamb, and it's now bolted on the back, has a nut on the back. So that's the only change. So now it has 3 complete through bolts versus 2 through bolts and 2 wood screws. This up here, you can see, has 2 through bolts, and these were factory wood screws here. And we're going to put through bolts through here also, because the wood screws just, you know, over time. We had to machine this web down so when the hinge closes, it can pass through itself. So you can see on the mill, I milled these edges down and then hand file this groove in here, make it look kind of swoopy and blend in nice. And generally the door hinges either get chrome plated or painted or whatever. It just kind of blends away. Another thing you're going to want to do before you cut the body is to brace the body up. So what we've done is we've used some 3/4 inch square tubing. We've mounted it in the back corner. We just tack welded it to the factory body seam doubler. So that's a good place on some cars. And then we come forward to the cowl. This plate we put here in the door jamb, this is 3/16, and that helps us gap our door as well to keep a good gap at the front of the door. And then if you'll notice, instead of just welding the tubing in solid, what we do is we put turnbuckles in here. And what the turnbuckles allow us to do is once you cut the top, if the car, you know, when it's assembled, it could be been under tension. If it's ever been wrecked, it could be under tension. And if you cut the roof off of it, sometimes a car will just kind of jump a little bit and it'll relax. And so you need to be able to pull it back around. And if you got tubing in there just locking it in place, it'll still jump a little bit, and then you go back and you put the car together and it's either back in tension or you lose your door gap. So that's the other benefit of having your doors on the car that open and close before you ever cut the roof, is you can check this. And so whenever we cut this top off for the first time, we'll be able to put the doors back on here and check the body to be sure that everything's cool. And if it's jumped or moved around, then we can adjust everything with these turnbuckles. What it allows you is it just puts all the rigidity in your body, holds everything square before you cut it, and then if you have to make any changes or alterations, you don't have to cut tubing loose and all this other shit, and you can just adjust your turnbuckles and pull everything back around where you need to. It's just something, and it doesn't matter what kind of car, 32, a Camaro, anything you're going to cut up, you can put that bracing in there. But anyway, our X brace is in. The door opens and closes. Our body beads line up perfect in the front and the back. You can see how strong it is. It doesn't flex up and down at the hinge. I mean, it can't go anywhere. So this one's finished, and now we're ready to start. This door here is ready to get its door skin.